Alright everybody, welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel. Today we are continuing the video series spotlighting another piece of great armor for your Tacoma, and that is the full high clearance swing out bumper from Mobtown Off-road. Alright, next up for the rear we do have the Mobtown full high clearance, which means it goes all the way through. You have to cut the rear quarter panel there all the way through to the tire with the swing out and a ton of options on here. So personally I am excited about this because I have a off-road steel bumper, not high clearance or anything like that, but this is definitely an option I'm going to go with at some point. So I myself am excited about this one. Just like with the Mobtown front bumper, I am here with Eat Sleep Tacos from Tacoma World. There he is, the man himself. So this is his wicked truck. We're going to talk about his rear bumper today. Okay, so what specifically? There's tons of high clearance options out there. I know it's always nice because, we're on the East Coast. If you guys are shopping around, you didn't know, sometimes the shipping on these things, especially something this big, can easily be $300 if you're going West Coast to East Coast, which I think most of them are on the West Coast. So for you East Coast guys, Mobtown Off-road might be the best option for you, for your armor needs. I will, of course, put their website link down below and a link to this specific bumper in general. So what drew you to this, aside from that you could just drive over there and pick it up and save, $300 on the shipping?
For me, it was when I saw the inside, the way the inside was designed.
Okay.
The way the hitch is tied into it, the way the internal bracing is.
Very well made.
It is extremely beefy. All the welds are beautiful. Everything about it is beefy. It is a little bit heavier than some of the other options by maybe 15 pounds. But in the grand scheme of things, 15 pounds in the back end is pretty negligible.
The rear bumper is definitely something you want to be beefy, because I guarantee you from the front and rear bumper, you are going to bang the rear bumper 10 times more than the front, just because it's much easier to control that approach angle versus the exit angle.
Yes, I have banged this thing many a times off.
It's holding up well.
It's holding up.
And look at that
well.
Clearance you can see over here. So you do, I've also seen, I think the CBI, it is a cutout, but I want to say it starts like 2 inches lower. So this is directly from the bottom of the headlight. You can see right over there. I'm sure that is a scary process, cutting the fender,
It makes it, surprisingly, with the way it's tucked up, it makes it easier.
Okay,
that's good. It gives it a good reference point on this side.
Good starting line, and
good
just
starting line. Like the way you cut for one is you lay it 2x4 across the bed rails. That way it gives you a nice point to measure off of, and you measure from here to 2x4. And then you do the same thing here to 2x4. That way it gives you consistency.
Nice.
And you just lay down masking tape, draw a line, cut it with an angle grinder.
I've seen a few on Tacoma World and elsewhere on the internet where the gap wasn't exactly uniform, so I'm assuming they rushed the process a little bit or didn't plan it out, because this is certainly one of those things you want to measure 5 times, cut once, because
and sometimes you cut twice. I cut below the line, just kind of practice run, and then cut the actual line. That way
you can always take off more later, but you can't put it back.
Exactly.
Without spending a ton of money, of course.
Right. And I have there is plastic trim that goes here to clean it up.
Yeah, I've seen that, like for the fenders and stuff. So
I took mine off when I took my flares off. I just need to put it back on.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, help hide that line and maybe give it a little protection from the elements.
Right.
All right, I usually don't say this to men, but whip this thing out so I can see it in all of its glory now.
All right. Here it is.
Very nice.
So
got the fold down table.
Yep. A lot of these features I added myself.
Okay.
When I bought it, I bought pretty bare bones high clearance swing out for the sole purpose of money.
Yeah.
And then later on I added my own things.
You knew what you wanted to do eventually, so you could go ahead and make it your own, really.
Right, exactly.
So you added the table.
So I added the table, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I took a chunk of aluminum, bought these off of Amazon.
That'll work.
Home Depot.
And how much did the materials cost?
$80 or so.
This is
$100.
I don't know why people think like these, when you get manufacturers to add this table, they think it's like gold plated or made out of like unobtainium. And this option, I've seen it cost like $200-300 for a table. I don't get it, because like you said, you could just get a piece of metal, cut it, put it on some cables or a hinge, or I mean.
Right. Yeah, so I mean it works. It's easy.
Yeah, it's perfect. definitely useful because I know you like to go camping all the time, so
Yeah,
plenty of
with the
space
tailgate
right here.
down makes it a nice area.
Yeah. And with your tailgate down, that lines up right with the end of the table.
Yep,
so
pretty much, yeah.
Perfect.
But if you're not really a DIY kind of person, and you do want to buy it through Mobtown, their design is almost identical. They use the same latches, similar hinges, so you'll be getting pretty much this.
Okay. Same size, roughly. Yeah.
Same size, roughly. A little bit cleaner. They get theirs nice and laser cut, nice and pretty. But yeah.
Very nice.
And then got my single gas can holder right here. Up until this, they only offered dual.
Okay.
But I personally don't see the need for 2 fuel cans.
Right.
I could do 1 fuel, 1 water, but it's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So I opted for the single. So I talked to Joe over at Mobtown, and he was nice enough to get this cut out for me, 1 off. And yeah, I went over there and picked it up pretty recently. It's very nice having a place for my fuel.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I've heard Mobtown's very cool. Like if you want to call them and sort of customize your order, they're very cool with that. Whether it's something like this, or I know there's another local Tacoma guy who has the same front bumper you have, but his the full hoops on the outside, they're a little less aggressive.
Right,
so
right.
if you guys want to call them up and change up stuff, I'm sure that'll affect the price because it'll a little extra fab, but yeah, definitely worth it if you want to go, like for this case, 1 cam versus 2. So that's a nice option.
They do all their fabrication in-house, so it's very easy for them to do custom requests so long as they have the time. Sometimes they're a little too busy for it.
Yep.
But it never hurts to call and ask.
And you added a couple quick fists on the top for your axe here.
Yeah, so this was another thing I added myself. I used a couple riv nuts, which is similar to a rivet, but it's a threaded insert. So I put a couple of those in there, bolted it on, and put the axe on.
Tucks it away nice. It's nice and clean.
I originally had it in my bed, but after having to use it a few times on the trail, and it wasn't
kind of a pain just reaching it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. On the trail, having to open everything up just to pull an axe out, I decided it needed to change, and that's what I came to this idea.
And these do come with the spare tire carrier, and this is a This is a 295, right?
Yep, 295, 7017.
So beefy. You can see plenty of room here from the side. You could still add stuff. Got your trasharoo on there. Those are always cool. Very nice.
Yeah. And then added this right here. I just welded on a plate, drilled a hole, added a matching plate over there, and that way I could throw a padlock in there.
There you go.
Just adds a little more security.
Security is always good.
Yeah.
And here's what it looks like from the back with everything opened up. You can see plenty of clearance right there, and it does look like it does reuse the factory license plate lights, a few recovery points, and it looks like you have your backup camera sort of mounted right on the top of the license plate.
That's an aftermarket backup camera, but they do provide relocations for a factory camera.
Okay. Yeah, because otherwise I would imagine your spare tire would be completely blocking it, because like on my later second gen, it's right here. So yeah. All right, and of course we have the hitch, which it looks like you have one of those pop-ups.
Yeah, so they include one of these brackets with all the bumpers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it flips up, and then
very nice.
A standard receiver back there.
Yeah.
And then you put the pin in from the back. So
it's a nice feature because I've seen a bunch where everything else seems similar, but then you got to go out and spend another $50 to get the little bracket. So
yeah,
it's one less thing to worry about.
It's the little things.
Yeah, all those things add up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love the way it looks.
Yeah.
And as with Mobtown's front bumper, they do have an extra bracket to add. You guys can see it right up here just to make things a little beefier. And you were saying that does replace something that was there from the factory, right?
Right. There's a factory bracket there, but they didn't like how thin it was. Yeah. So, of course, they wanted to beef it up. They're all about beefy. The install is pretty straightforward. It ties into 5 bolts on each side. You just wear the factory hitch bolts up, factory hardware. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, nice. Another nice touch just to give this thing some extra longevity. Yeah, while we're under here too. Yeah. But worth mentioning this relocates the
that comes with it?
Trailer. Yeah, this comes with it.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah, it relocates it so you don't rip it off on some rocks.
The very first time I went off-road in my Tacoma, guess what I broke? Because it's hanging down from your factory bumper, you know, below the license plate, cracked it. And that's a nice feature. I know there used to be a thing like a kit you can buy, but the guy stopped making them. So whatever's out there, that's it. He's not making anymore. So that's an awesome feature that I have not seen on any other bumpers. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you've had your bumper for how long now?
I've had it since the beginning of the year.
Okay.
But recently, they decided to get away from the giant wing nut. He went to SEMA, he saw other bumpers with latches, and he was sold. So he redesigned the swing out. So now, instead of a wing nut and a bolt holding it on, he has a proper latch.
Okay.
And And then he's updated a couple things over here on the swing out. So this, rather than having to weld attachments on, he's made a plate with mounting holes.
So it's ready to go.
Ready
add
to
what
go,
you want.
so you can buy stuff later and bolt it up yourself. Very
Awesome.
easy. So that's what's meant to be.
It's definitely a nice feature, especially for someone like you who knows you want to add, you know, your own little things here and there. So
Right.
that's pretty
Exactly.
cool. Awesome. Good to know. All right, everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. That is it for this video. Personally, I think this might be the route I go eventually when I replace my rear bumper. If you are thinking about doing something similar, please comment below. Let me know what you think you're going to go with. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Help me grow the channel by sharing it with your friends and family on social media. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video.